Hi, and welcome back to the Weather and Water training videos. My name is Karen Zeminski, and as you know, I'm a 6th grade science teacher in the Boston Public Schools. Investigation 4, heat transfer, is actually one of the most interesting chapters in this kit, I think. Heat transfer is a major science concept for students, and in this investigation, it starts by understanding the sun as a major source of energy and the major component of weather as we know it. The first part of this investigation is one that students tend to remember the most. They'll be tracking, recording, and analyzing the temperatures of 4 Earth's materials: sand, soil, water, and air. To prepare for this, I do a review of how to read a thermometer so that students can practice this ahead of time. This tends to be problematic as sometimes students get confused between Fahrenheit and Celsius, as well as how many degrees each of the smaller lines represent. The goal is that they're able to read and record the temperature of the material they're monitoring without removing the thermometer from the cup. I also suggest obtaining some heat lamps. The science department in the past has had some to loan out. I'm not sure what the status of that is. I purchased mine at Home Depot for probably around $25 for 3 of them. I don't like leaving things to chance and doing this activity outdoors because I find there are too many variables, and I prefer to do it with the heat lamps. Each group of 4 students will have 4 containers, one of water, one of sand, one of oil. One of water, one of sand, one of soil, and one of air. I like to assign the students to the material they're going to be measuring ahead of time. And just like the picture showing you, I set up the groups on the floor and they have all of their materials in front of them and I let them begin. I'd also like to suggest that you review the tracking chart with the students prior to the investigation. For some 6th graders, it's confusing to look at the temperature change column, and a simple review corrects this quite easily. Students will then analyze their data by creating a graph to determine which material heated the fastest and which cooled the fastest. There's also a reading in the student guide that goes with this investigation called Thermometer. And next, you can tie it all together with a Fosweb animation about heat and energy. Start by focusing on the radiation in the environment section and then on radiation in general, shown here using a pot of water. You have to start on this page and click here in order to get to the environment section, but you can always revert back to this. And the nice thing is we're going to keep revisiting this to discuss convection and conduction as well. Now that students are familiar with radiation, we're going to focus on the next type of heat transfer, conduction. Make sure that you bring ice to school if you're doing this on a hot day. It's difficult to keep the hot water hot and the cold water cold, especially if you're teaching back-to-back classes for Section 2. After the inquiry is completed, then you start facilitating discussion that's based on what the students had just done. How did the heat transfer? What is heat? All of those types of questions that the teacher guide will actually walk you through how to facilitate. At this time, you can return back to the same Fosweb location and click on the conduction section. So you can also do conduction in the environment if you click down here afterwards. Last, wrap up this investigation with the heating the atmosphere reading in the student resource book. Although the inquiry is over, I like to refer back to this reading multiple times to solidify concepts and to review heat transfer because it's a reoccurring theme throughout the remainder of this kit. And that's all for all parts of Investigation 4. I hope you enjoyed it.